This is learning target O Retake Ticket. We are using similar figures. So I'm going to start with number 1 here. We've got two similar triangles. The important thing to look at is both the picture but also the congruence or similarity statement, because this is going to tell us what we can match up. So I'll start with this side over here, this 9. That's ML. If I look at ML on my first triangle, that's my first 2. So I'll start with that 9. That has to match up with the first 2 on my second triangle. So that's going to match up with PQ, which is 12. Likewise, I know that I need to find this variable x, so I'm going to try to figure out what matches up with QR, and it's going to be MN. So MN is 15, and that matches up with QR, which is this x. And now, like we will do on every single problem, we're going to cross multiply and solve. 9x equals 12 times 15 is 180. And you're going to divide both sides by 9. And x is equal to 20. Now, if the triangles are in the same orientation, it is going to be just as easy as kind of looking at the picture. But again, if we move over to number 2, you can see that these shapes, call it a trapezoid, they're not in the same arrangement, or they're not in the same orientation. So again, I'm going to go right to my unknown here this time and say, okay, SV, where is SV? SV is my first to last. That side right there, that X, is going to match up with my first to last on the other side. That's going to be XW. So XW is 20. I'll put a divide by 20 on it. Now it's important to match up, again, your second side with that same accuracy. So here's TS. That is my first and my second. I need to match it up with YX or XY. So I look for XY, and that is this side right here. Okay, XY is 35. So I have to put left triangle is 21 over 35. And we cross multiply. Cross multiply this direction. We get x times 35, and we multiply this direction, we get 21 times 20. So we have 420 is equal to 35. X, divide both sides by 35. And x equals 12. So the key is matching up the correct sides. When the orientations are twisted around, it is easy to make a mistake and match up the wrong sides. Now here we have two triangles that look to be in the same orientation. I'm just going to do a quick double check and make sure by looking at my statement. I've got RST, so it goes R up to S down to T. I'm going to make sure that this is the same. X, Y, Z. X up to Y down to Z. It looks like it is. Okay, it looks like it is. So now it's just as easy as matching up where they are. X matches up with 40. And you can choose either at this time. I'll stick with the smaller numbers. 27 matches up with 30. The key, again, though, one common mistake that I see a lot of people make, we got to make sure that if we're going to call this here the red triangle, and we can switch to the other one, maybe call this the blue triangle. One important thing to remember is that red needs to stay with red. So here I've got the X and the 27 on top, and then the blue stays with blue. And so I got the 40 and the 30. So the X and the 27 are in the numerator, those came from the red. The 40 and the 30 are from the blue, those are in the denominator. You have to keep them organized that way. If you flip them around, they're no longer equal. We have to cross multiply to solve this. So it's 30x equals 40 times 27 is 1080. Divide both sides by 30. And you get 36. So this one is a little bit easier when the orientations are the same, but of course we want to double check it because triangles especially can be a little bit deceiving. Alright, moving on, number 4. Again, I've got a lot of side lengths here. It looks like I know all 4 on the left. The bottom right, I only know 2 of them. Rather than try to make the assumption that HJ automatically lines up with AB, I am going to use my statements here. So HJ is my my last 2, so it must match up with CD, which is my last 2 over there. So I can write my proportion, and I'm going to go from left to right. It's 10 over x. So this one, this quadrilateral is going to be on top, and this is going to be on bottom. So just make sure that as we go through and we set up what is equal, that in fact we do put that upper left quadrilateral on top. Alright, so what else do we know here? Well, if I take a look, I know JF. J and F are the first and last 2 letters, so that means it must match up with D and A. So D and A is 12. Again, I have to go left to right, so I use my color code here. 12 on top over 8 on bottom. Now, it doesn't matter which one you put on top or bottom as long as they stay the same. So you could switch those around. You could have the X on top, the 10 on the bottom, but you must have the 8 on top and then the 12 on the bottom to match. We cross multiply again, as we do with every question on this retake ticket. It's 8 times 10, which is 80, and we'd have 12x over here. We're going to divide both sides by 12. And 80 divided by 12 is 6.7. 6.7. Okay, moving on to number 5. I think it looks like this one again. The triangles are in a similar fashion. I'm just going to do a quick double check. Start at C, go up to B, and then over to A. That's the order of this first one. Does that order align with the second one? Well, it starts at F, go up to E, and then down to D. It does appear like those 2 are the same. So now I know that I can just match them up as I see them. I'm going to start on my left one and match it up to my right triangle. That match up there is 8 over x. And the second one is 12 matching up with the 15. Cross multiply. 12 times x is equal to 8 times 15 is 120. Divide both sides by 12, and x equals 10. Don't assume that the triangles are written the same way. You really got to do this double check to make sure you match them up correctly. All right, let's go to our last one here. We've got 3 numbers on this side. We've got the 12, the 10, and the X. We've only got 2 over here, the 8 and the 9, so which ones match up with which? Well, it's obviously very important that we get them right. So what we will want to do is we will want to trace out the letters. It starts at D, goes to E, and then finally at F. So it goes from D up to E, down to F, and then likewise in the other triangle, it's H up to J, down to K. So these are in the same orientation. I will start at my left triangle. That's a 12 right there. And I will map that to the same position on the other triangle, which is an 8. 12 over 8 will match up with, again, I will start on the left and I will say X matches up with 9. X matches up with 9. One last cross multiply. It's 12 times 9 in one direction. That's 108. The other direction, it's 8x. When we divide both sides by 8, we get 13.5. 13.5. Alright, thanks for watching this video. I would encourage you to try the next page on your own where you are matching them up. Some of the triangles, like you see in number 1, are oriented the same way, but some of the other shapes here, you can see a quadrilateral in number 2, you'll have to carefully look through the statement up above. Thank you.